everybody? Welcome back to Wrestling with My Opinion. If this is your first time here, if you like wrestling content on YouTube, by a fan, for the fan, this is the channel for you. Click that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, watch this video, give it a like, drop me a comment. I do respond and I appreciate it. Today we're going to talk about a few different things. There's been some interesting things going on with some AEW talent. There's interesting going on with a WWE talent that was supposed to be at StarCast. Will he or won't he? And what's the reasoning on that? And there was an interesting Joey Janela tidbit that came out today involving another former WWE superstar. We're also going to talk about the card for Fight for the Fallen. So let's jump into that card for Fight for the Fallen first. First match that everybody's well aware of: Cody Rhodes with Dustin Rhodes against the Young Bucks. Interesting dynamic there. You got Cody and the Young Bucks, who are great friends off camera, off ring, whatever you want to call it. So interesting dynamic there. I think it's going to be really fun to try and see how that plays out and how they go with that, or where they go with that. You're going to have Kenny Omega versus Chima. That should be a barn burner of a match. Those two guys are a great fit in the ring. There should be great chemistry there. That should be really on fire. You got Brandy Rhodes versus Allie. My opinion on those two: this is Allie's chance to get a little redemption for the Fyter Fest, a little bit of what some people viewed as a lackluster match. I also felt it was a little off. The chemistry wasn't there. It's her chance to bounce back from that. With Brandy Rhodes, she even did a Road to Fight for the Fallen, talking about how she's always kind of fell down when the chips were down, and it was time to step up and perform, going all the way back to her ice skating days. So I think it'll be interesting to see if the hard work she's been putting in the ring is going to pay off. I think that's going to be really fun to see what happens there. You're going to have Kip Sabian versus Hangman Adam Page. Those two also two very bright young talents that they should put together a great match and really be entertaining. Then you got a match that a lot of people have been talking about with MJF, Shawn Spears, and Sammy Guevara versus Joey Janela, Darby Allin, and Jimmy Havoc. Should be a wonderful match. Those guys are all going to be tons of fun to watch in the ring together, I got a feeling. The reason it's been talked about a lot is fans didn't understand why MJF and Shawn Spears were put on the same team. My opinion is they're going to build towards what the big turn is, establish that arc, and start heading towards the end of a storyline or the middle of a storyline. You're going to see one of the two either turn on each other, or possibly even maybe they end up joining up and turning on Cody. Obviously that's yet to be determined what's going to happen, but that's a good reason to pay attention to that match. Not to mention the athleticism and talent that's going to be in the ring for that match alone is going to make that a fun match to watch. Speaking of athleticism and talent, then you got Pentagon Jr. and Rey Fenix going up against Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian, collectively known as SCU. And they're going to have, of course, Christopher Daniels in their corner, as was announced during Being Elite this week. That should be an interesting match, really fun to watch. Again, not four more gifted talents in a wrestling ring right now. So what they're going to be able to put together should be highly entertaining and fun to watch. And hell, guys, it's free. So, I mean, you can't be that. You're going to get these great matches and for free. And then also recently announced, Chris Jericho is going to appear on the show. He's going to have an open mic. He sent out a promo today, or cut a promo today and sent it out via social media as well as here on YouTube through the Being the Elite channel. Talking about he still wants his thank you, and of course continuing his gimmick of I'm responsible for all this, yada yada yada, the stuff he's been saying all along. He continued it with, you never know what I'm going to say, is it going to be politically correct, rough around the edges, blah blah blah. You can go watch it, and he says it'll be all the above. So be interesting to see where he goes with that. So now that we got that Fight for the Fallen card out of the way, I teased you at the beginning and asked you to stick around because we're going to have some information about a few different talents that have had some interesting things happening out of the ring or out of the arenas. So first one I'm going to talk about is Joey Janela, who was at a concert, ran into the former Enzo Amore, and of course a video gets posted today all over social media of those two supposedly squaring up like they're going to fight. It's kind of a silly little video, to be perfectly honest. I have my doubts on whether or not it's a work or whether or not it was real. I'll be totally upfront about that. I wonder if maybe there's a little bit of a work going on there. They never come to any kind of blows. Janela basically just said, well, he didn't show the whole video, and that's okay. I live for this shit. Enzo just says that it wasn't a good place to fight, and his girl was keeping him under control and got him to back down. It's an interesting video to watch, and I'm sure you've probably seen it if you're watching this. If you haven't, you can hit pretty much any social media platform and find it. It's neat to kind of see. Another tidbit of information. This one involves StarCast. So StarCast was all set to have Booker T there in Chicago during the All Out weekend. He's been there before with StarCast, so not a shock. But he has since pulled out of that. Now, where it gets interesting, and there's differing opinions on this person, but where it gets interesting is Dave Meltzer reported that Booker T had agreed to appear at All Out, not StarCast, and that when the war between WWE and AEW, when he says he realized that he says that when Booker T realized that it was very real, that he decided he was pulling out. He didn't want to be in the middle of it. Since then, he has sort of retracted that and saying, obviously, this is only in reference to his StarCast appearance, not an all-out appearance. Here's the deal. We've seen WWE before tell talents that they still use contracted, and even a few that weren't at the time, that they don't want them appearing there and at StarCast, not on the AEW show, on StarCast, because as a lot of people do, they view StarCast as AEW being connected because they do happen at the same weekends consistently. So, I think that's all it really is. That's just my personal opinion. I think it's just WWE said, hey, we don't want you to do it this time. With them coming up on TV and an actual, I don't think it's going to be a war, folks. I really don't. But, they're going to be competing. Whether they want to compete or not, that's what they're going to be doing, because that's the nature of what we have here with professional wrestling. But I think that's truly all it is. Conrad Thompson came out and said that he'll kind of set the record straight on it at some point. I'm sure he'll just get somebody to fill that spot. He always does pull somebody else in to take care of that because he's good at what he does. So that you can take that for what it is and go from there. Now, the other interesting one was Limitless Wrestling was all set to have Shawn Spears appear. This event was taking place this Friday. Obviously, Saturday is Fight for the Fallen, which Shawn Spears is a part of. So initially, AEW said, nope, ixnay, not happening. He's not going to be there. Limitless Wrestling did a big social media post that went out saying, unfortunately, they've decided not to let Shawn Spears appear. We replaced him with Tommy Dreamer. If you bought VIP tickets for Shawn Spears, you can be refunded. And they were going to just move on. They weren't making a stink. They were just letting fans know, which is good on them. I can deal with that. After that, AEW came back and said, no. We don't think this is right. Maybe not the right thing to do. Shawn Spears can appear if you still want him. So he is now going to appear, and the fans that are going to that show are getting the addition of Tommy Dreamer, because Limitless Wrestling has said they are also going to have Tommy Dreamer still appear, which I think kudos to them. Instead of dumping Tommy Dreamer just because of Spears, given the situation, they're just going to have them both. So I think that's great. They thanked AEW for having the change of heart, which I think is awesome. So, guys, with all that being said, that's a little bit of the news and events, and of course a quick rundown of the Fight for the Fallen card. hopefully you are tuning in to these events this weekend. It's a busy weekend. You got Fight for the Fallen Saturday. You got New Japan with Climax G1, another round of that this Saturday. You also have on Sunday with Extreme Rules. So it should be a fun-filled weekend of pro wrestling across the board. And again, if you enjoy wrestling content on YouTube, through the social media, then I'm the guy for you. It's for a fan, or from a fan, for the fans, just my opinion. And here's the cool part. What I would like most is for you guys to interact. Send comments to me here. Find me on Twitter at mypwopinion. And send me things over there. Heck, if you want to, send me videos. If the videos are little short 30-second videos of you giving your opinion on something we've talked about, maybe I can work them into future videos going onto this channel, which would be really cool. So again, I want to thank you for your time today, and I appreciate you clicking on my video, and we'll see you for the next one.